Ladies and gentlemen, this is a new season, a new page. The calendar has turned, but the real question is, have you turned? 2026 is not asking for your excuses. It's demanding your attention, because the greatest project you will ever work on is not your job, not your business. It's you. If you don't design your own life, someone else will use you to build theirs. So today, we're not here to watch life happen. We are here to take control. Taking full responsibility for your life is where everything truly begins, because until that moment, progress is just an idea and not a reality. It means understanding that where you are today, your results, your habits, your circumstances, is largely a reflection of your past decisions, not fate, not luck, and not other people. This realization can feel uncomfortable at first because it removes the habit of blaming external factors, but it is also incredibly empowering because it gives you control. When you accept responsibility, you stop waiting for things to change and start making changes happen. You no longer depend on perfect conditions, approval from others, or the right timing. Instead, you begin to act with purpose regardless of circumstances. Responsibility requires honesty, especially with yourself. It asks you to evaluate your actions, your mindset, and your consistency without making excuses. It means admitting when you've procrastinated, when you've settled for less, or when you have allowed fear to dictate your decisions. This level of self-awareness is not about self-criticism. It's about self-correction. You cannot improve what you refuse to acknowledge. When you take ownership, you begin to see challenges not as obstacles, but as feedback, guiding you toward growth. Another key aspect of responsibility is understanding that your time, energy, and focus are your most valuable resources. How you spend them determines the direction of your life. If you waste them on distractions, negativity, or unproductive habits, you are choosing stagnation. But if you invest them wisely in learning, in discipline, in meaningful actions, you are choosing progress. Responsibility means making these choices consciously every day, even when it's difficult, even when you don't feel like it. It also means letting go of the victim mindset. Life is not always fair, and circumstances are not always ideal, but staying stuck in why me, thinking only limits your potential. Responsibility shifts the question from why is this happening to me to what can I do about it? That shift alone can transform your life. It moves you from a passive position to an active one, where you become the driver of your own journey instead of a passenger. Taking responsibility also strengthens your discipline. When you know that your outcomes depend on your actions, you become more committed to doing what needs to be done, not just what feels good in the moment. You start to follow through on your commitments, build better habits, and stay consistent even when motivation fades. This consistency is what creates long-term success. Furthermore, responsibility improves your relationships and your environment. When you stop blaming others, you communicate better, you take ownership of your mistakes, and you become someone people can trust and rely on. This not only builds respect, but also creates a positive cycle where your growth influences those around you. Ultimately, taking full responsibility is about reclaiming your power. It is the decision to stop drifting and start directing your life with intention. It is realizing that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can always control how you respond, how you adapt, and how you move forward. And once you fully embrace that mindset, you unlock the ability to shape your future in ways you never thought possible. Discipline is the force that turns intention into reality. And unlike motivation, it does not depend on how you feel in the moment. Motivation is powerful, but it is temporary. It rises and falls, influenced by mood, environment, and circumstances. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady. It is the commitment to act regardless of emotions, excuses, or distractions. When you rely only on motivation, you will start strong but struggle to continue. When you build discipline, you create consistency, and consistency is what produces real results over time. There will be many days when you don't feel like working on your goals. You may feel tired, distracted, or uninspired. Those are the moments that define your progress. Anyone can take action when they feel motivated, but only those who are disciplined continue when the excitement fades. Discipline means showing up even when it's inconvenient, even when progress feels slow, and even when no one is watching. It is in these quiet, unseen moments that real growth happens. Discipline also requires clarity of purpose. When you know why you are doing something, it becomes easier to stay committed. Without a clear purpose, it is easy to give in to comfort and short-term pleasure. Discipline asks you to prioritize long-term rewards over immediate gratification. It is choosing to work on your goals instead of wasting time, choosing to learn instead of staying comfortable, and choosing to improve instead of settling. These choices, repeated daily, shape your future. Another important aspect of discipline is structure. It is not just about willpower. It is about creating systems that make success more likely. This includes setting routines, managing your time effectively, and removing unnecessary distractions. When your environment supports your goals, discipline becomes easier to maintain. You are not constantly relying on motivation to push you forward. Instead, your habits and systems guide your actions. Discipline also builds resilience. When you consistently push yourself to do what is necessary, you develop mental strength. You become less affected by temporary discomfort and more focused on long-term outcomes. This resilience allows you to handle challenges, setbacks, and failures with a stronger mindset. Instead of giving up, you adapt, learn, and continue moving forward. It is important to understand that discipline is not about perfection. There will be days when you fall short, when you miss a step, or when you lose focus. What matters is not avoiding mistakes, but returning to your path quickly. Discipline includes the ability to reset, to refocus, and to continue without letting one setback define your journey. It is about persistence, not flawlessness. Over time, discipline transforms into identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who keeps commitments, and someone who takes control of their actions. This shift in identity reinforces your behavior, making it easier to stay consistent. You are no longer forcing yourself to act. It becomes part of who you are. In the long run, discipline creates freedom. It may feel restrictive in the moment because it requires effort and sacrifice, but it leads to greater control over your life. When you are disciplined, you are not controlled by impulses, distractions, or external pressures. Instead, you are guided by your goals and your values. This sense of control allows you to achieve more, grow more, and become more. Chosen. Discipline over motivation is choosing reliability over uncertainty. It is the decision to act with purpose every day, not just when you feel inspired. And once you develop that level of consistency, you will find that success is no longer a matter of chance, but a result of your daily actions and unwavering commitment. Eliminating distractions is one of the most powerful decisions you can make if you truly want to move forward, because distraction is the silent thief of time, energy, and potential. Most people are not failing because they lack ability. They are failing because their attention is divided. Every time your focus is pulled away from what truly matters, you lose momentum. And without momentum, progress becomes slow and inconsistent. The challenge is that distractions are often subtle and disguised as harmless habits, making them easy to justify and difficult to control. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. From constant notifications to endless scrolling, from unnecessary conversations to overthinking, your attention is under constant attack. If you do not consciously protect your focus, it will be taken from you without permission. Eliminating distractions begins with awareness. You must identify what is consuming your time without adding value to your life. This requires honesty, because many distractions are things you have become comfortable with. They may feel enjoyable in the moment, but they slowly pull you away from your goals. Once you recognize your distractions, the next step is making a decision. You cannot keep everything and still expect to grow. Progress demands sacrifice. This means setting boundaries with your time and your environment. It means saying no to activities that do not align with your priorities, even when they are tempting or socially accepted. It means reducing unnecessary noise in your life so that you can hear or your own direction clearly. Eliminating distractions is not about removing all enjoyment from your life. It is about controlling when and how you engage with it. There is a difference between intentional relaxation and uncontrolled distraction. When you choose to rest after meaningful work, it supports your growth. But when you constantly interrupt your focus for short-term pleasure, it weakens your discipline and delays your progress. The key is to be intentional with your time, ensuring that your actions serve a purpose rather than just filling space. Your environment plays a crucial role in this process. If you surround yourself with distractions, it becomes much harder to stay focused. This includes both physical and digital environments. A cluttered workspace, constant interruptions, and easy access to time-wasting platforms all contribute to a lack of focus. By organizing your space, limiting interruptions, and creating a setting that supports productivity, you make it easier to stay aligned with your goals. Another important factor is mental distraction. Not all distractions come from the outside. Many come from within. Overthinking, self-doubt, and lack of clarity can pull your attention away just as much as external factors. To overcome this, you need to train your mind to stay present and focused on one task at a time. This involves developing the habit of deep work, where you give your full attention to what you are doing without constantly switching between tasks. Eliminating distractions also strengthens your sense of control. When you decide where your attention goes, you take ownership of your time and your results. You are no longer reacting to everything around you. Instead, you are acting with intention. This shift allows you to work more efficiently, produce better results, and experience a greater sense of progress. It is important to understand that this is an ongoing process. Distractions will always exist, and new ones will continuously to appear. The goal is not to eliminate them once and for all, but to continuously manage and reduce their impact. This requires regular reflection and adjustment, ensuring that your habits and environment remain aligned with your goals. In the end, focus is a limited resource, and how you use it determines the direction of your life. When you eliminate distractions, you create space for clarity, productivity, and growth. You begin to use your time more effectively, make better decisions, and move forward with greater purpose. And as your focus becomes stronger, so does your ability to achieve the results you truly want. Investing in self-education daily is one of the most valuable habits you can develop, because your growth in life is directly connected to what you learn, how you think, and how you apply that knowledge. Formal education may give you a foundation, but it is self-education that determines how far you go. The world is constantly changing, and if you are not learning, you are slowly falling behind. Growth does not happen by chance. It happens by choice, and that choice must be made consistently. Self-education begins with curiosity. It requires a willingness to ask questions, to seek better understanding, and to challenge what you already know. When you become curious, you open the door to new ideas, new perspectives, and new opportunities. Instead of accepting things as they are, you start exploring how they can be improved. This mindset keeps you active and engaged, pushing you to evolve rather than remain stagnant. One of the most important aspects of self-education is consistency. Learning once in a while is not enough to create meaningful change. It is the daily effort, even in small amounts, that builds knowledge over time. Just as small habits, shape your behavior. Small learning sessions shape your thinking. Reading a few pages, listening to valuable content, or reflecting on your experiences each day may seem minor, but over months and years, it creates a powerful transformation. It is also important to be intentional about what you learn. Not all information is useful, and not all knowledge contributes to your growth. Self-education requires focus, choosing topics that align with your goals and your vision for the future. This means learning skills that improve your thinking, enhance your abilities, and expand your opportunities. When your learning has direction, it becomes more effective and meaningful. Another key element is application. Knowledge alone does not create results. It must be put into action. Many people consume information but fail to use it, which limits its value. Self-education becomes powerful when you apply what you learn in real situations. This could mean practicing a skill, testing a new idea, or making decisions based on your understanding. Application turns knowledge into experience, and experience is what truly builds confidence and competence. Self-education also helps you develop independence. When you rely on yourself to learn and grow, you are not limited by external systems or circumstances. You take control of your own development, choosing what to learn, when to learn, and how to learn. This independence gives you an advantage because you are constantly improving regardless of your environment. You are not waiting for opportunities. You are preparing for them. Another benefit is the way it shapes your mindset. The more you learn, the more you realize how much is possible. You begin to think differently, to see solutions where others see problems, and to approach challenges with a more confident attitude. Learning expands your perspective, allowing you to adapt more easily and make better decisions. It strengthens your ability to handle change and uncertainty, which are inevitable parts of life. It is also important to surround yourself with valuable sources of knowledge. This includes books, mentors, experiences, and meaningful conversations. The quality of your input determines the quality of your output. When you consistently expose yourself to positive and insightful information, it influences your thoughts, your habits, and your actions in a constructive way. Over time, self-education becomes a part of your identity. You no longer see learning as a task. You see it as a way of life. You become someone who is always growing, always improving, and always seeking better ways to move forward. This continuous growth keeps you relevant, capable, and prepared for whatever challenges and opportunities come your way. In the end, investing in self-education is investing in your future. It is one of the few things that no one can take away from you, and its value only increases over time. The more you learn, the more you can do, and the more you can become. And when you commit to learning every day, you create a path of steady progress that leads to lasting success. Setting clear, non-negotiable goals is essential if you want direction, because without clear goals, effort becomes scattered and progress becomes uncertain. Many people work hard, stay busy, and remain active, but they do not move forward in a meaningful way because they lack clarity. When you do not define what you truly want, you end up reacting to life instead of directing it. Clear goals act as a roadmap, giving your actions purpose and your time value. Clarity is the first step in this process. A goal must be specific enough that you understand exactly what you are aiming for. Vague intentions like wanting success, improvement, or growth are not enough because they did. Not provide direction. A clear goal defines what success looks like, what needs to be achieved, and often by when. This clarity removes confusion and helps you focus your energy on what truly matters. When you know your destination, it becomes easier to decide which actions are necessary and which ones are distractions. Making goals non-negotiable is what separates intention from commitment. It means treating your goals as priorities rather than options. When something is negotiable, it is easy to postpone, ignore, or replace it with something more comfortable. But when a goal becomes non-negotiable, it becomes a standard you hold yourself to, regardless of how you feel. This level of commitment requires discipline, because there will always be reasons to delay or avoid difficult tasks. By removing the option to quit or compromise, you create consistency in your actions. Another important aspect is alignment. Your goals should connect with your values and your long-term vision. When your goals are meaningful to you, it becomes easier to stay committed to them. If they are based on external pressure or temporary motivation, they will lose importance over time. Alignment ensures that your goals are not just tasks to complete, but steps toward the life you want to build. This deeper connection provides motivation that lasts longer than short-term excitement. Breaking goals into actionable steps is also essential. A large goal can feel overwhelming if you do not know where to start. By dividing it into smaller, manageable tasks, you create a clear path forward. Each step becomes achievable, and each achievement builds momentum. This approach not only makes the process less intimidating, but also increases your confidence as you see consistent progress. Accountability plays a significant role in maintaining non-negotiable goals. When you hold yourself accountable, you take ownership of your commitments and your results. This means tracking your progress, evaluating your performance, and making adjustments when necessary. It also means being honest with yourself when you fall short and taking immediate action to get back on track. Accountability ensures that your goals remain active priorities rather than forgotten intentions. It is also important to protect your goals from distractions and competing priorities. Not everything deserves your time and energy, and trying to do too much can weaken your focus. Setting clear boundaries allows you to concentrate on what truly matters. This may require saying no to certain opportunities, activities, or even people that do not align with your objectives. While this can be difficult, it is necessary for maintaining progress. Flexibility is another important factor, but it must be balanced with commitment. While your approach may need to change based on circumstances, your commitment to the goal should remain strong. Challenges and setbacks are part of the journey, and they may require you to adjust your strategy. However, these adjustments should not become excuses to abandon your goals. Instead, they should help you find better ways to achieve them. Over time, setting and achieving clear, non-negotiable goals builds confidence and self-belief. Each accomplishment reinforces your ability to follow through on your commitments. This creates a positive cycle where success leads to greater confidence, and greater confidence leads to bigger goals. You begin to trust yourself more, knowing that you can turn your intentions into results. In the end, goals give your life structure and meaning. They transform your efforts into progress and your vision into reality. When your goals are clear and non-negotiable, you stop drifting and start moving with purpose. You become intentional with your time, focused in your actions, and committed to your growth. And with that level of clarity and determination, you position yourself to achieve far more than you ever thought possible. Protecting your time like an asset begins with understanding that time is one of the few resources you can never recover once it is gone. Money can be earned again, opportunities can return in different forms, but time moves in one direction. Every hour you spend is an investment, whether you realize it or not, and the return on that investment depends entirely on how you choose to use it. When you start to see time as valuable rather than unlimited, your decisions begin to change. Many people treat time casually, giving it away to distractions, unnecessary commitments, and low-value activities without much thought. This often happens because there is no immediate consequence. Wasting an hour today does not feel significant in the moment, but when repeated over weeks and months, It creates a gap between where you are and where you want to be. Protecting your time means becoming aware of these patterns and deciding that your time deserves better use. One of the most important steps in protecting your time is setting priorities. Not everything that demands your attention is important, and not everything that feels urgent is meaningful. Without clear priorities, it is easy to spend your day reacting to whatever comes your way instead of focusing on what truly matters. When you define your priorities, you create a filter for your decisions. You begin to ask yourself whether an activity aligns with your goals or distracts you from them. This simple habit can significantly improve how you use your time. Learning to say no is another essential part of protecting your time. Many people struggle with this because they want to please others or avoid conflict, but constantly saying yes can lead to overcommitment and exhaustion. Every time you say yes to something that does not align with your priorities, you are saying no to something that does. Protecting your time requires the confidence to decline requests that do not serve your goals, even if they seem appealing or socially expected. Planning your time is also crucial. When you do not have a plan, your time is easily influenced by external factors. A structured approach, whether through a schedule, a to-do list, or a set routine, helps you stay focused and intentional. Planning does not mean controlling every minute of your day, but it does mean having a clear idea of how your time will be used. This reduces the chances of drifting into unproductive habits and increases your ability to stay on track. Another important aspect is managing interruptions. These can come from people, technology, or even your own thoughts. Constant interruptions break your focus and make it difficult to complete meaningful work. Protecting your time means creating boundaries that minimize these disruptions. This might involve limiting notifications, setting specific times for communication, or creating an environment where you can work without constant interference. It is also important to recognize the value of focused time. Not all hours are equal. An hour of deep, uninterrupted work is far more productive than several hours of distracted effort. Protecting your time means protecting your focus as well. When you dedicate time to important tasks, give them your full attention. This not only improves the quality of your work, but also allows you to complete tasks more efficiently. Rest and recovery are also part of protecting your time. While it may seem counterintuitive, taking time to recharge actually increases your productivity and effectiveness. The key is to be intentional with your rest, ensuring that it supports your energy rather than becoming another form of distraction. Balanced time management includes both focused work and meaningful recovery. Over time, protecting your time builds a sense of control and purpose. You become more deliberate in your actions, more aware of your choices, and more aligned with your goals. This leads to greater productivity, less stress, and a stronger sense of progress. Instead of feeling busy without results, you begin to see clear outcomes from your efforts. In the end, treating your time like an asset changes the way you live. It shifts your mindset from passive to intentional, from reactive to proactive. You begin to value each moment, not just for what it is, but for what it can become. And when you consistently protect your time, you create the space needed to grow, achieve, and build a life that reflects your true priorities